My name is Mfundo Daki, the Executive Manager in the Education and Training Department of the Property Practitioners Regulatory Authority, which was previously known as the Estate Agency Affairs Board. Today, I'm going to talk about three programs which are quite important for everyone to understand. Okay, the first one will be about the implications of the Property Practitioners Act on candidate property practitioners. Okay, secondly, I'm going to talk about the professional designation examination, and lastly, the continuing professional development, loosely called the CPD. In terms of the new regulations, the terminology has now been changed. I know most people are familiar with internship and intern estate agents. In terms of the new regulations, the candidates who want to join the sector will be referred to as, or are referred to as, candidate property practitioners. I think one of the notable things in terms of the new regulations is that previously, the candidates were called interns, as I mentioned, had to serve a period of internship of 12 months. Now, the change, which is quite notable, is that the period that candidates need to serve in preparation for being property practitioners is 6 months. Basically, what is going to happen is that during the period of 6 months, they have to be subjected to practical training. It's no longer called internship, it's just the regulations refer to practical training. And they have to be mentored by a property practitioner who doesn't have any limitations in terms of the regulations. The period of this practical training, actually it mentions 180 days, okay? So 180 days equals 6 months. Upon completion of this practical training that I've referred to, the candidate will be expected to sit and write the professional designation examination. I think what is crucial to understand is that previously we had a problem of what we used to term as serial interns, people becoming interns perpetually and never writing the exams. So now the regulations are very peremptory. It's out there. You are not allowed to serve in excess, to serve, practical training in excess of 6 months. I think another thing that is important to understand is that if a candidate writes the exam and then they fail, it is not automatic that they will just continue being candidate property practitioners. They will still be required to, they'll be required to make an application to us and indicate why they feel that they should be allowed a further period to serve as candidate property practitioners. So that is one of the notable changes insofar as candidate property practitioners are concerned. Now we are going to talk about professional designation examination, or in short PDE. In terms of the regulations, everyone who wants to join the sector and become a property practitioner, they need to write this professional designation examination. That is after completing the practical training that I just spoke about. Okay, I think there isn't much of a difference in terms of the number of times and when the exams will need to be written. The regulations indicate that the exams must be written 4 times annually. So even before the coming into effect of the Property Practitioners Act, we utilize the same methodology basically in terms of when exams must be written. So as I said, there won't be any changes there. But obviously, I think one of the things which are quite important to note is that currently, I mean, in terms of the new regulations, the exams may also be written in any other official language other than English, and may be written, I mean, and may be undertaken orally. So I think those are quite interesting developments there. All right. I think, okay. All right. I think one of the things I need to look at and address is the issue of whether the old regulations in terms of the education regulations, whether they are still applicable. In terms of Section 75, that provision, that's Section 75 of the Property Practitioners Act, that provision governs the transitional period. And subsection 6 of that provision provides that all regulations made in terms of the old EAA Act remain of full force and effect as if they were made in terms of the current legislation. Therefore, until such time that the authority, that is the Property Practitioners Regulatory Authority, has engaged all the industry players and bodies. Therefore, until such time that the authority, that is the Property Practitioners Regulatory Authority, has engaged the various industry bodies and established the standard of qualifications, the old education regulations will still apply. Therefore, the NQF level qualifications will still need to be completed by the candidates until such time that we've got new standards that would have agreed upon with the various sectors. Okay. Now I'm going to move to another program, which is called Continuing Professional Development. All right. It is also provided for in terms of one of the regulations, sub-regulations. Previously, all what we used to call asset agents were required to undergo this program and attain about 60 points. Now, in terms of the new regulations, what is required of eligible property practitioners is that they need to attain about, actually they must do 12 modules over a rolling cycle of 3 years. Okay, so which means each year, each property practitioner will be required to do about 4 modules. And then, as I mentioned, so it's going to be, in the first year it will be 4 modules, and then the following year another 4 to make it 8, and then the last year of the cycle, it will be another 4 to make it 12. So it's no longer 60 CPD points over a period of 3 years. Now it's 12 modules over that rolling cycle of 3 years. I think we'll also, I think what is another thing that is important to note is that now the regulations also allow the industry bodies to develop the CPD content. So we will be developing the CPD content within the authority, as well as the external industry bodies will also be allowed to generate the content. However, what is important to note is that when the CPD content is generated outside of the authority, those industry bodies will need to submit to us all their content so that we can review and then approve of that content, because we need to be satisfied that it covers all the important aspects of the training. So I think we've come to the end of our presentation. Thank you very much.